Arizona House of Representatives, Phoenix, Arizona, National Latino AIDS Awareness Day, October 15, 2011. The Hispanic Latinos community of Yuma is one of the fastest growing ethnic groups in the region. Today, Hispanics make up 60% of Yuma's population and are quickly expanding. Hispanics are making critical contributions into life in our communities through their dedication to family diversity work and cultural richness. And whereas Hispanic Latinos make up 16% of the United States population, including Puerto Rico, but account for 18% of those living with AIDS cases nationwide, and whereas misconceptions about HIV transmission contributes to the increasing rate of new HIV/AIDS diagnosis within the Hispanic Latino community. Thus, it is critical to raise awareness of the potential for HIV infection in the Hispanic community and offer culturally and linguistically appropriate HIV testing and prevention programs. And whereas Hispanic Latinos see HIV/AIDS as one of the most important health issues facing the nation, yet many lack the health insurance and the connection to traditional social services and healthcare networks. Further, Hispanics require critical health information that is culturally tailored, and whereas in order to reduce the rate of HIV/AIDS diagnosis, HIV prevention programs for Hispanics must target those who are at high risk for infection, but are HIV negative, as well as those men and women who are HIV positive. Furthermore, counseling services and HIV testing must be offered to pregnant Hispanic women, and whereas HIV/AIDS has challenged and the extended Hispanic Latino family to find new reservoirs of compassion and to confront difficult issues such as drug use and sexuality. And whereas Back to Basics Please offers expanding HIV prevention awareness and testing to Yuma's Hispanic Latino community, and whereas National Latino AIDS Awareness Day provides the opportunity to increase community awareness and dialogue to commemorate those lost and bring leaders together to advocate for greater services and community involvement to fight this epidemic. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Russ Jones and Lynn Pancrazi, Arizona State Representatives, by virtue of the authority vested in us by the laws of the state of Arizona, do hereby proclaim October 15, 2011 as National Latino AIDS Awareness Day in Yuma, Arizona, and call upon the people of Yuma, Arizona to observe this day with appropriate programs, activities, ceremonies supporting this year's theme. Latinos Unite. Let's stay healthy. Get tested for AIDS. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand this 15th day of October in the year of 2011. And this is signed by both Russ Jones and myself.
Awareness to HIV in this community is a real struggle for many different reasons. We are at 30 years of AIDS, and in today's world, this is not such a fight of making people survive or allowing people to survive with AIDS. We have incredible treatments. This is a fight for relieving stigma in our community. So I'd like to take a moment and just read a caption from the NLAAD website on understanding stigma. They say that one of the more pressing issues in the primary and secondary prevention of HIV/AIDS is stigma. The original definition of stigma is a sign or mark cut or burned into the body whose purpose was to identify the marked as morally blemished individuals to be avoided. Goffman, 1963. Those marked were often slaves, criminals, or traitors. Currently, individuals who are labeled as stigmatizable are those who have a spoiled identity in the eyes of others, and this blemish renders that person susceptible to social devaluation. A stigma by its very nature is a mark which legitimizes treating that individual in some ways less humanely than those without the mark. Furthermore, to be stigmatized often means that one is not even considered human. In feeling stigmatized, the individual may often have chronic self-presentation concerns, specifically worrying about how to interact with other people and how to selectively disclose about the nature of his or her stigma. The stigmatization of HIV/AIDS and specific groups at risk, such as men who have sex with men and injection drug users, may not only impact self-esteem, but may also interfere with voluntary testing, counseling, and treatment. With that, I have lost many, many friends to HIV. Surprisingly, I have not lost them to HIV. I've lost them because they've taken their own hands, or their lives at their own hands. They've committed suicide because they couldn't deal with the possible outreach, or outlash from the community, from the family, from their friends.
Life wellness comprises a whole circle of topics. There's physical wellness, emotional wellness, social, intellectual, spiritual, environmental, and occupational wellness. And in order for us to be well, we have to embrace all of those. And that way that ties into HIV and AIDS is we've all seen the research and we've all heard that those who live a healthy, well lifestyle do a lot better with the virus than those who don't. We're just going to take a few minutes and look at some life wellness stuff. This is another hero of mine. Everybody remember Dr. Maslow and his hierarchy, his nice pyramid there? And you know, his perception was that we're not going to hit the top of that pyramid until we take care of issues on the bottom of the pyramid, right? So we need to take care of air, water, food, shelter, then we can move on up into safety, love and belonging, esteem, and then self-actualization. Well, that goes the same for the wellness pyramid. We need to start at the bottom of the pyramid and do those physical needs first, like physical activity, a good healthy diet, adequate rest, clean water, clean air, before we can move up that pyramid and reach the top point of that pyramid, which on this one is spirituality, and that's whatever you perceive it to be. Okay. So the definition of wellness that I use is that it's an active process of becoming aware of and making choices toward a more successful existence. And I like to bring attention to all of these action words here. That process means that improvement's always possible. Awareness means that we're continuously seeking more information about how we can improve. Choices mean that we consider a variety of options and select those in our best interest. I may walk around the block, but I'm certainly not going to run around the block. Success is determined by each individual to be their collection of accomplishments. So it's a very individual thing, but it's also based on action. And we're not going to enjoy wellness at any level until we're actively involved in it. It's not just something that happens to us while we sit by. It's like I can't plug in that exercise video and just sit and watch it. So I've been watching it forever and nothing happens. Some other dimensions of wellness that we didn't talk about in the other slide are financial wellness. We need to be financially well, and I usually write that little piece for the website around January or April. Mental wellness, medical wellness, of course, and intellectual wellness. People don't think about occupational wellness, but you know, if you love what you do, you're so much happier. You can go on various sites, and the site that I use is definitionofwellness.com, and it has a whole list of things every month that we can focus on for wellness. It kind of makes it easier to take it in little bites. We talked about the wellness wheel, longevity and quality of life, flu prevention, which we are now moving into flu season, so please get your flu shot. Even if you don't get it now, our flu season doesn't really get going and peak until later in the year, say end of January, February, and even into March. So you have plenty of time. If it's December and people say it's too late, don't believe them. Relationships. We looked at HIV 30 years later, and we also looked at how to keep those New Year's resolutions. Also getting healthy sleep and National Condom Week. So if you want more information, you can go to http://www.definitionofwellness.com, and they have a whole host of stuff. They have little tests you can take for different areas, and you can score yourself on how well you are, and if you're not well in that area, they give you ideas about how you can get more well in that area. RJ believes the discussion, research, and work related to health disparities, along with analysis and integration of social determinants in policy change and program implementation, and the realization of the role life course theory plays are all essential pieces of the pie. These pieces must shape the overall framework public health needs to use when addressing HIV and other chronic diseases. They are vital to creating a successful long-term prevention and treatment program.
That, when you're talking about HIV, of course, we want to go to sex, and we want to talk about the individual and the individual responsibilities and blah, 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 blah. But really, we are talking about the health and wellness of our people. And where we see the highest disparities of HIV tend to be in communities where their health and wellness absolutely is not good anyway. You don't find high numbers of HIV in healthy communities, or very little of it. The pool is going to be fairly small. And so one of the reasons why it's so important for us to have a discussion around what's going on with Latinos is not just because their wellness is not where it needs to be, but because there are barriers to them getting the kinds of wellness they need to have, and the support systems in place. And not just for Latinos, actually for all people of color in the state of Arizona. I'm going to share with you some data today that is going to, I hope, present itself in a way that you'll understand that people of color are at high risk for everything in Arizona. And there are many, many reasons for it, and we tend to not talk about them. And we have to, because if we're going to eliminate HIV and other health disparities in the state of Arizona, we have to deal with the root causes. And that's the bottom line. We have to. The national strategy talks about more targeted, and everyone knows about the national HIV/AIDS strategy that President Obama has signed off on. You guys all have at least heard about it, right? Some of the primary tenets of it is we're going to do more targeted testing, make sure that people are linked to care. Really, it's about the stuff we've been doing for the last 20 years, but more expanded and more programmatic without dollars. I'm not really talking about dollars.